We have the most important message in the world. It needs to get out into the world. We may not change this world so much, but we will transform people's lives. And it's a gospel unto salvation. It's a gospel for eternal life.
Our whole world is groaning and searching. And we have this extraordinary opportunity as evangelists, as the church, to say what you are searching for has been made known in and through Jesus Christ.
Ultimately, we need to preach the word so that all might hear, that they might come to a saving faith in Jesus Christ. And nobody can come without hearing the word. And we are here to proclaim one-to-one, one-to-many, the opportunity for people to know Jesus.
To know Jesus is to love Jesus. And to love Jesus is to have to share him. You just can't keep him. You can't keep him to yourself.
In the process of communicating or proclaiming the gospel, I think we are getting to know who he is. And in the process of getting to know who Christ is, he is transforming us.
Proclamation evangelism is as close as we can get to the word taking on flesh. Doesn't remove the fact that we shouldn't embody the gospel, but when we tell people about Jesus, this is the closest and the fastest and the best way for us to, in a sense, mimic what Jesus did, and that is God becoming flesh like us.
The Lord, he doesn't need us, but yet he chooses us. He wants us. And he looks at us with compassion, and he has freely given us all things. And so to the church and to ministers and evangelists, my prayer for you is that freely you have been given, so freely give. Don't put a price on the gospel.
Evangelism is important because the message of the gospel transforms human heart. And it's the transformed people that will transform their society, their families, their cities, and their nations. And I want to see that transformation taking place as a result of Jesus Christ being lifted up through proclamation of evangelism.
Mobilizing believers and making sure that as you are spreading the good news as an evangelist or even just a regular everyday person, that you should always go one step further and help that person then also articulate their faith.
Let's get our eyes on the harvest and lift up our eyes and see that there are churches that need training. There's denominations that need to raise up evangelists. And if we're asleep or if we are just doing our own thing, we forget that the gospel is not going out, and the gospel will go out if we raise up more evangelists and tell more people about Jesus.
God is a missionary God, and we're called to be his ambassadors, to represent him on earth. And to represent him, we need to be those who share, who declare, who proclaim, and who live out the gospel in practical ways.
Proclamation evangelism is so important because there are so many voices that are shaping the narrative of who we are as a global society today. And we need to be fearless and courageous about being a public voice of the goodness of God and the greatness of the good news.
I think we have to bring the sense of urgency again to the gospel. We have to be quicker to adapt and do everything we can to work together and step out of our comfort zone.
If there's no evangelism, there's no church. It's because we do evangelize that church will be. If we don't evangelize, we don't have a church. So please go and evangelize.
Be faithful to proclaim the gospel. A friend of mine wrote a book on proclamation, and he signed it to me in there, proclaim until you die. And that's my heart's desire, is to be faithful to the end.
And one of the things I've often noticed is that I think often people who are not Christians are more keen to hear the gospel than Christians are to proclaim the gospel. We can assume that everyone is disinterested and apathetic, but while that might be the case in the case of some individuals, that's certainly not universally the case. And I find actually when we are courageous in proclaiming the gospel, we'll find that people are more open than we might have anticipated and more willing to listen than we might have feared.
there's this accelerated awareness of the power and the supernatural at work in the world that I didn't see before. And it's as if God is saying, I'm accelerating things because I'm coming soon. I'm coming soon, and you got to let my people know that I'm coming, and I'm going to show that I'm with you as you proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Proclamation evangelism is a mystery, the fact that God would partner with us to transmit like the most important thing that needs to be transmitted. He didn't select just a few sacred people or special people to entrust with that message. He wanted that message to go far and wide, and he entrusted his bride, the whole church, to do that together. And it's really hard to make Jesus known if nobody hears about him. So that is at the heart of proclamation, is to share the good news, to share it emphatically, passionately, creatively, joyously with people who are hurting.